Hello folks, welcome back to Guitar Woodshed. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about arpeggios and pretty much playing like within the chord structure. So arpeggios are a great way for you to like practice playing chord tones over chord changes, and kind of through that process you get a little bit more familiar with your neck. So what I'm going to do really quickly is talk a little bit about how you should know your inversions of your triads, up and down your neck, and then basically what you should do from that is know the general vicinity of where you are and where your closest triad is for your chord change. And then within that, with the specific chord progression, like using the triads and the arpeggios to map a solo or some sort of improvisational thing that you want to do. So we're gonna get flip over to the guitar, gonna zoom in on the neck a little bit, and let's get talking about triads. Alright, so let's get started. Let's just start off with a simple C chord, okay? So everybody knows this chord. What is a triad made up of? Well, it's made up of the root, the third, and the fifth. In this case, what I'm talking about in a C major scale is C being the root, E being the third, and your G being the fifth. Okay? Some people like to play that so all six strings can be part of this magnificent C chord. So something that you do within our Chords 101 class, which I'm not going to go into depth in this because you can get a lot more out of spending 12 weeks on it, is understanding how to play these chords up and down your fretboard and across your fretboard. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, your C chord here, okay, that's your full C chord. Now, if I'm going to play kind of smaller Motown sounding triads, this is how you can do it. So here's your C chord. What I'm doing is I have my third finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, my pinky is going to be on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and then my first finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. So what we have there is your C, your E, and your G. So root, 3rd, 5th. So this is kind of your root position triad. Now when I move up here, this is an inversion of your C chord. Here we have the first inversion because the third of the chord is on the bottom. So we've got E, G, C on top. So there what I'm doing is I've got my middle finger on the 9th fret, and then my first finger is barring the 8th fret of the 2nd and the 1st string. So most of you guys should know that shape. Okay, and that comes out of the bar chord up here. And then lastly, you've got this D shape, which this D chord, same shape, but our first and second finger are going to be on the 12th fret, and then our third finger is going to be on the 13th fret of the 2nd string. So this is your second inversion because it starts on the G. So you got G, C, and E. Okay, so there are your triads. Now, what do we want to do about that with playing them up and down your neck and across your neck? So we want to just practice. So you can just do an exercise like this. Okay, just go up and down the neck. Same thing goes for D. If you slide everything up a whole step, that's where your D triad is. And same thing goes for E or D flat or whatever. Just, you can start with this first root position triad and then just move it around to where you want it to be. So, what I would also recommend you do is when you're doing the triads, think about where you can find those other notes moving across the neck, not just up and down. So really quickly, if we start with we're just staying with C triad, right? So here is your C, here's your E, and there's your G. Okay? there is your root position. Here is your first inversion, E, G, C. Here's your second inversion. So G, C, E, and then you're back to this. So across the fretboard it looks more like this. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, so what I'm going to do in the context of a Grateful Dead song that's called Morning Dew, which has great chord changes, is just D, C, and G. And the progression goes like this. Alright, so that's... So you can see, guys, within the context of that little improvisational idea, you can hear the arpeggio and the changes of the chords even without me playing or having a loop going in the background, playing the harmonic idea. So it's kind of cool to experiment with those arpeggios. It's very melodic. It's a very melodic way to kind of grab the ear, your audience's ear, just because it's got a quality to it. Instead of just, you know, playing just kind of like linear. Instead of playing like that, you're giving them chord tones and you're giving them the change, because they're hearing the changes, and the arpeggio kind of lends itself to kind of enhancing that. If you're the solo instrument. Now, obviously, you don't want to just be soloing that way the whole entire time, but throwing in arpeggios can make that solo way more effective and kind of take you on a little bit of a journey. So it's cool to kind of start messing with this stuff. And you can see I was just using my triads. I wasn't throwing any tensions in. Just straight D, F sharp, A, C, E, G, G, B, D. All the same notes. Basically all the notes of the G major scale. So I mean, if you were going to solo over those changes, you could solo using your G major modes. So think about that. You know, do that chord progression, loop D, C, G, those changes that I just played, and then use your G modes and all the modes of the G major scale, and then like superimpose, like put in your arpeggios with the chord changes, just to give it a little lift. Something to try, something to practice. It's pretty easy once you start getting the hang of it. It's really fun. So enjoy it. That's what it's for, and that's what this thing is for, is to have fun. Always remember that. And I'll see you on the flip side, guys.